think you're doing?
Early on in the film, Marty assumes I'm cool and my dad's a loser. And being able to see yourself in the experience of another, that's connective.
No, Biff. You leave her alone.
This is a key point, too. You don't have to be courageous all the time. But once he did, that joy on his face of like, maybe I can stand up for myself. Oh, Lorraine. Hello and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Alan Seawright, a professional filmmaker who needs therapy.
I'm Jonathan Decker, a licensed therapist who loves movies. What are we doing today?
Today, our patrons have decided what we're going to talk about, and you're going to react to a movie, and the movie is Back to the Future.
Yes! Excellent choice, patrons. Thank you.
It is a perfect script.
It is. Yeah. It's one of those good ones.
That's what it is, Jono. I would call it a clockwork script.
Oh my
because
gosh.
every line sets up or pays off something either before or after.
The thing that Back to the Future does really, really well is it paints in very big, unmissable strokes what it's trying to tell you, so that even when you're 6 years old, you get the message of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, history is gonna change.
It is not subtle, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
I can't believe you loaned me your car without telling me it had a blind spot. I could have been killed.
Yeah.
Speaking of not subtle.
Can I assume that your insurance is gonna pay for the damage?
My insurance. It's your car. Your insurance should pay for it. I want to know who's going to pay for this. I spilled beer all over when that car smashed into me. Who's gonna
Tom
pay
Wilson
my-
is low-key the hero of this entire trilogy.
Oh my gosh.
He's so damn good.
Yeah.
Up yet, but you know, I figured since they weren't due till
Hello? Hello?
This is my older brother and I.
Think, McFly. Think.
Not now,
I
but
gotta have time
then.
to get him retired. Do you realize what would happen if I handed
No,
him-
an entire generation of younger brothers had their heads knocked on. That happened to me numerous times. Hello, McFly.
Would you?
Of course not, Biff. Now, I wouldn't want that to happen. Now, look, I'll finish those reports on up tonight, and I'll run them on over first.
Run him on over.
Hey, not too early. I sleep in Saturday. Oh, McFly, your shoes untied. Oh. Don't be so gullible, McFly.
Man, it's just a tour de force of cartoony acting.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Tom Wilson is so far over the top, he's, like, in orbit. And Crispin Glover, I don't know what he's playing. It's an alien.
Which he's really good at.
And it works.
Yeah.
It works. Again, I talk all the time on this show that subtlety is better than unsubtlety, but the only thing better than subtlety is like absolutely smashing you in the face with something if it's well done.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole movie is.
Yeah. Before cinema therapy started, like 10 years ago, maybe a little more, I used to teach a class in the community called How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk. It was based on the book. I was a certified facilitator. And this is where I started using movie clips to teach principles.
Right.
And I used this exact clip
Oh, really?
in my class.
For conflict avoidance?
For avoiders and attackers.
Okay.
So avoiders, you look at George, how he laughs at things that aren't funny.
Right.
His voice is low and soft. His body posture is closed and non-threatening. And when I say he laughs at things that aren't funny, he's hoping that if
he laughs, it'll diffuse the tension and
Right.
get the attacker to leave him alone.
And then Biff says, "How could you loan me your car without telling me it had a blind spot?" Which is one of the best lines of dialogue ever.
Well, and then it follows it up like you're too busy laughing at that to hear the next line, which is,
I spilled beer all over when that car smashed into me. Who's going to pay my cleaning bill?
he was drunk driving.
Yeah. Yep. And George takes the blame for something that isn't his fault.
Right.
It's Biff's fault, but why?
Biff just happens to be my supervisor, and I'm afraid I'm just not very good at confrontations.
Because I'm not good at confrontations, I'm threatened, I'm scared, and I figure that if I just avoid the conflict, it'll go away, or at least it won't escalate. And then, people who are conflict avoidant tend to be passive-aggressive. They slide in little jabs here and there, or in George's case, I get fired. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you?
Would you?
Of course not, Biff.
No,
Biff.
No,
Right?
Bliff.
And then Bliff.
I don't know what I said. Bliff. But I
said-
stand by whatever it was.
And then Biff, he's straight up, he's loud, he's intimidating, He's physically and verbally aggressive.
Yeah.
So avoiders avoid conflict, attackers avoid responsibility.
Sure.
And so Biff, nothing's his fault. It's all the guy who smashed into me, your car, the things that you did wrong. And this is classic avoider attacker. This is what the interaction looks like in a very cartoony, over-the-top way.
Yep.
I don't like her, Marty. Any girl who calls up a boy is just asking for trouble.
Oh, Mother, there's nothing wrong with calling a boy.
I think it's terrible. Girls chasing boys. When I was your age, I never chased a boy or called a boy or sat in a parked car with a boy.
Then how am I supposed to ever meet anybody?
Well, it'll just happen. Like the way I met your father.
It won't.
So stupid. Grandpa hit him with the car.
It was meant to be.
She's playing about our age right now, which
I know.
scares me.
If Grandpa hadn't hit him,
It's terrifying.
been born.
Yeah, well.
So I really wanted to talk to you about weird parental hypocrisy.
And selective memory.
yes. Because I'm sure I do this. I try not to. But
Yeah.
I'm sure I've done it before.
Oh, I've known any number of people who their memory versus the memory of everyone who knew them, especially when these people are parents. Because I think subconsciously, like, oh, I made these mistakes and I don't want my kids to repeat these mistakes. But I don't know if they have bought into the narrative of I was never like that, or if they're just flat out lying to their children.
Right.
But one way or the other, one of my favorite things in family therapy or just in family reunions is when someone is on a soapbox about how they were when they were younger and everyone says, no, not true. Or I see this all the time with grandparents who talk about, when I was a parent, I never treated you guys that way.
And there's like,
yeah. And the adult children are like, bull crap. And then they start like citing evidence.
Well, maybe I don't feel like being criticized around the clock.
I don't criticize you. And if you're worried about criticism, sometimes a diet is the best defense.
So what is behind this? Sometimes we do legitimately forget things when we grow older. We have a narrative and then everything kind of conforms to that narrative. But this can happen.
Yeah.
Because we all have the stories that we tell ourselves, especially as the memories fade and time passes. My question is, does Lorraine remember that she was boy crazy? Or does she actually think, no, I was
is she just lying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, and just more evidence of this being a perfect clockwork script. If Grandpa hadn't hit him, you never would have been born.
Yeah.
Grandpa doesn't hit him, everybody starts fading out of the picture, and Marty gets the magic disappearing hand.
Well, and thematically, one of the points is it always feels like there's a generation gap, but that's mostly in our heads. I know as a parent, very stereotypically, I say to my kids, I was a teenager once, and they're like, Dad, that was forever ago. You can't even possibly relate or
No
remember.
idea what it's like.
And when you're a kid and time moves so slow, that's absolutely true. When you're an adult and time feels like it moves fast, like my adolescence feels like, especially when I look at pictures, not that long ago. And so the notion that your parents, before they were your parents, were just people, is one of the beautiful themes of this film.
Hey, McFly!
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
What do you think you're doing?
Biff.
Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug.
Oh, hey, Biff. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, you got my homework finished, McFly?
Well, actually, I figured since it wasn't due till Monday.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey!
Highlights something very crucial, that how you show up in life will not change unless you change it.
Correct.
It will go across decades.
Out of school. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you? Would you?
Well, now, of course not.
No.
I wouldn't want
No.
So what are you looking at, butthead?
Hey, Biff, they don't know this guy's life preserver. Dork thinks he's gonna drown.
Yeah. So, how about my homework, McFly?
Okay, Biff. Well, I'll finish that on up tonight, and then I'll bring it over first thing tomorrow morning.
Hey, not too early. I sleep in Sundays. Oh, McFly, your shoes untied. Don't be so gullible, McFly.
Well, and just what I was saying about behavioral patterns across time, not only are they passed from one generation to the other, which I love when we see them sitting the same way and then turning the same way, but also, and then we have scenes, it rhymes.
It's like poetry, so if they rhymed.
You know, it's poetry. It
It's
just,
poetry.
why did
It
my George
rhymes.
Lucas sound like Owen Wilson? Like,
I don't know.
Oh, wow, it rhymes.
Wow.
But just in your own life, I was thinking about this the other day. Personal growth, like ogres, is like an onion.
Onions?
They stink?
Yes. No.
Because there's layers to it. I have grown in like a lot of my weaknesses. I've worked really hard to grow and progress and not commit some of the same mistakes. And yet every once in a while I do something like, this is exactly what I did in high school.
Have I grown up at all? Am I still a 12-year-old? Yeah, I do that all the time.
You know what? That's us. And we do the best we can. And this is why it's so important to practice self-love and self-compassion, because at the end of the day, you're still you. George, at the end of the movie, when he's like cool, not that cool.
He's still George.
Yeah, he's still George. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well, and to your point, things don't change over time. This is almost word for word a scene we just watched.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
And that could be really boring. It could be just bad screenwriting or bad directing. But because of the way it's played and the energy change, and especially the reaction shots that we get from Marty. The reaction shots that we get from Marty in the first scene are just exasperation of like,
yeah,
ugh, I can't believe this is happening again. I've seen this 500 times. This time the reaction shots from Marty are like, oh my God.
What are you looking at, butthead?
This has been happening for 30 years.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed for 30 years.
And speaking of setup and payoff, nothing's going to change unless I change it.
Correct.
What are you writing? Stories. Science fiction stories about visitors coming down to Earth from other planets.
Again,
Like an alien.
I know nerds in real life. I've never met this nerd in real
You
life.
did anything creative? Let me read some.
Well, I love that Marty is like learning a new thing about his dad.
Yeah.
Read my stories. Why not? Well, what if they didn't like them? What if they told me I was no good?
Relatable.
I guess that would be pretty hard for somebody to understand. No. No, not hard at all.
How Marty feels about his music.
The way Michael J. Fox plays that response, like you can see all of the wheels turning in his head like, oh, I get this from my dad. Like as much as I'm so frustrated with my dad and I don't want to be anything like him, in this way I'm exactly like my dad. And not that it's his fault, but like, oh, he's like me, not I'm like him.
Yeah. Well, and to the point of perspective taking, early on in the film, Marty assumes, okay, I'm cool and my dad's a loser.
Yeah.
And being able to see yourself in the experience of another, that's connective, especially someone that you assume is so different from you.
Right.
And this is the work of family therapy. This is the work of perspective taking. This is the work of empathy. This is how we build bridges. This is how we heal. This is how we connect. And so I love seeing this. And I also love just the simple fact, Michael J. Fox, much like Christopher Reeve before him, later in life became a real life inspiration because of hardship and how he faced it, but also had one iconic role that he is fantastic in.
Yeah.
Maybe two for Michael J. Fox. Family Ties. 3 if you count Frighteners, which I do.
It's just an act, right? Okay, so 9 o'clock, you're strolling through the parking lot. You see us struggling in the car. You walk up.
This
You
is your
open the
plan,
door,
Marty?
You say, you're lying, George. Oh, hey, you, get your damn hands off her.
So Marty's entire plan is dependent on what his mom said about herself growing up, which isn't the case.
So now, you come up, you punch me in the stomach, I'm out for the count, right? And you and Lorraine live happily ever after. Oh, you make it sound so easy. I wish I wasn't so scared. George, there's nothing to be scared of. All it takes is a little self-confidence. You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
That is the most 80s advice. There's nothing to be scared of. Just have some self-confidence. There's plenty of things to be scared of.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't be confident about your ability to deal with scary things, but it's also okay to be scared.
Yeah. Although Marty's point about confidence is legitimate, George
Okay.
is afraid to be a tough guy in a staged scenario.
Yeah.
That's how much confidence he lacks.
Right.
Them glasses is in it. It's too real, Roy. It's too real.
Marty's saying you just got to be confident in yourself. This is why we need therapists. Because that's like telling someone who's depressed, well, just don't be sad anymore. You know? Okay, but how? How do I get from point A to point B? And in George's case, if I had him in my office, or if I were doing family therapy with him and Marty, it would be about recognizing, okay, George, you're assuming that you don't have strengths, that you don't have talents, that you don't have virtues or finer qualities. So let's highlight what you're not seeing or what you're downplaying about yourself.
Sure.
Because the fact is, he is very creative, and we see later in the film, his novels become huge hits.
Right.
And all he needed was to believe, you know what, I can put this out there, there will be people who enjoy this.
Hey, you, get your damn hands off.
So watching,
Yes, George, goddammit, swear.
watching the scene as an adult, it's surprisingly dark what's going on.
George, help me, please.
Just turn around, McFly.
And that's what makes it dark.
Yeah.
Is her performance. She's genuinely scared.
McFly, close the door and beat it.
And it's not a scene that would make it into a family movie today, but
It should.
You leave her alone.
because we need examples of genuine heroism, and also the scene
You're asking for it.
actually matters in this cartoon of a movie because of this.
Stop it! Bev, you'll break his arm!
Because what George is doing is summoning his courage for something very real. And
Damn it, man, it's like my hand.
And at this point, it's not just about, oh, he's in love with Lorraine. It's about
Break his arm!
being a real hero, like standing
Gets
up
to
for
stand
somebody.
up for himself, not just for Lorraine.
Whoa! Let him go!
Well, and for someone in real danger.
Yeah.
You know? He could not be in love with her, and this would still be a badass scene. Yes!
Editing in this scene is so good. That little 5-frame flash of Tom Wilson just
Spinning, yeah.
and then this shot of George right here.
The elation.
I did it! I did it! I'm a hero! Oh, wait. Oh, you too. Are you okay? For this crazy giant alien performance that Crispin Glover has given, that scene is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. And Alan Silvestri, one of the great film scores.
You can make an argument that this is the greatest movie music theme ever written.
It's up there with anything John Williams has done, which is the highest praise I can give.
I mean, you could put this up against Superman, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, which most people would agree, and maybe Harry Potter, which people would agree are kind of the all-time greatest themes. And you could play that and like, yeah,
it's right there.
It's right there.
It's right there. To your point that this is a cartoon, she looks at him with awe and reverence. It's very like damsel in distress, gallant knight moment. And even though it's not realistic, I get all the feels watching it.
Yeah. It's also very Reagan 80s. How do you solve a problem? By punching it. And look, in this case, arguably probably the right move, but still.
Listen, this came out the same year as Rocky IV. There was a lot of punching going on.
A lot of punching to save America.
I love this notion, though, of George finding his courage because he cares so much about Lorraine. The fact is, George has been bullied and harassed, and if Biff were beating on George, George would just get beaten to a pulp.
Yeah. He
Because
wouldn't stand up for himself.
Up until this point, he hasn't really cared about himself, loved himself, or had any confidence.
Sure.
But when he sees someone that he cares about in danger, there's this whole other side that comes out, and I know you can relate as a dad.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You know? Because there are things that I would tolerate people saying or doing or treating me a certain way. You come at my kids with that, I will light you up.
And again, to your point, he wouldn't have stood up for himself, but once he did, that realization, that joy on his face of like, I can stand up for things. Maybe I can stand up for myself. Oh, Lorraine.
It's interesting because he stands up for Lorraine.
He feels his own power.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh yeah.
Lorraine.
But we see that this serves him the rest of his life. And this reminds me of that line from We Bought a Zoo.
Sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
And I think of several like hinge points in my life where all it took was one moment of insane courage and my life changed for the better dramatically. And my mental and emotional health changed for the better dramatically. You just got to summon it.
This is a key point too. You don't have to be courageous all the time.
Yeah.
You can be a coward 90% of the time. And okay.
Yeah.
But if you pick just the little teeny tiny moments where it's like, okay, I'm not going to be a coward for the next 30 seconds.
Because it really counts. It really matters.
That's when it matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just find the right 30 seconds. I've been super courageous at the wrong 30 seconds a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that's why people call me a Karen.
George, aren't you gonna kiss me?
I don't know.
So this is a great screenwriting thing.
Scram, McFly. Cutting in.
He's solved it, right? He's courageous now. He can do what he needs to do.
Nope, he's still him.
He's still him. He's got to relearn the lesson. And that is honestly great screenwriting. You
Yeah.
have the hero figure out what they need to do, and then you test them one more time.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we tend to fall back on our own patterns unless we deliberately summon the courage that we learned from that one lesson. Like, are we going to keep doing that, or are we going to fall back on our old patterns? Oh, here it is.
World's greatest visual effects. Hey, listen, they were groundbreaking for the 1980s.
But you're right, this is human nature.
Excuse me.
The little as he shoves him. Listen, Michael J. Fox is not the only person giving an iconic performance. Every single...
What makes that so great is not just that he like pops up, it's that the camera goes up with him.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa!
The
hey!
energy of it. But all of our main performers in this movie,
absolutely crushing it.
and understanding exactly what they're supposed to do, which is part acting, part directing, part screenplay, right?
Yeah.
It's all right there. That'll how it all comes together. But lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely perfect. And like, people talk about, oh, the sequels diminish the film. I don't think they diminish this movie. I don't think they're as good, but I think they tell an interesting continuation of the story.
I love the sequels.
I love them. I don't know how much of that is nostalgia, but I don't think they hurt it in any way.
Right.
This is a perfect film and remains a perfect film.
So until next time.
Hey, you! Get your damn hands off her. Do you really think I should swear, though?
Yes, George, damn it, swear. And
watch
movies.
Hey, we want to shout out and thank our patrons who not only get a longer director's cut of this episode, they picked it! Patrons like, this is a name,
Peter Shepard,
Unicorn Cat,
Deborah Nollert,
Colin Knox,
Coldfire Fables.
Thanks, patrons.
Great Scott!